Day here, NFL Super Wildcard Sunday. First, Glenn, let's take a look back last night. We'll go to the opening game first. The San Francisco 49ers go off to a little bit of a shaky start. Then Brock Purdy, Deebo Samuel, McCaffrey. Then the defense took over in the second half and blew up the Seattle Seahawks.
Purdy played great. He's super slippery when he gets back in the pocket. He started slow. There was nerves. There was rain. It was a bad rain. There's some bad weather out there. They have those atmospheric rivers, but started slow. But he ends up with 4 touchdowns and an easy win. I think they're the best team. And I was on talking with somebody this morning online.
So you think they're the best team, even better than the team that plays 8 minutes from my front door?
Yeah, they're so good everywhere. On offense, where they're most underrated is their offensive line. Their offensive line is massive, and they're both tackles are that game.
That they do have the best tackle in football, Trent Williams.
I know, and then McGlinchey's on the other side, so they're staunch at tackle like the Eagles. It would be great. The Eagles Niners, would they meet in the final?
Yeah, it would be the NFC Championship game.
That's going to be a great game if they both make it. But I think those are the two best teams. Eagles secondary better play better, but what games yesterday? But yeah, a solid performance all around by the Niners. They once they settled in, it was pretty much over. Geno Smith, tip your hat to Geno. Geno, good season in Seattle. I think that's a good match out there. I think they re-sign him, and I think he takes less money to stay there.
I think they have to after going to the Pro Bowl. This is a team. They traded Russell Wilson. They trade Russell Wilson, and it was supposed to be a rebuild year, in my opinion. At least they thought that was going to be a rebuilding year. They got good play. Kenneth Walker. Obviously, they had the 2 wide receivers with Lockett and Metcalf. Defense played a little bit more better than expected, maybe, and they have. They have, I think they saw the stat, it's the highest draft pick for any playoff team in like 15 years or something, because they have Denver's number 5 pick. So they should be able to get an impact player at number 5.
Yeah, I like the way Pete Carroll's he's a mad scientist. He's great. He's great with communicating with the players. He drafted me in New York, and just a fun coach to play for. And when everybody, follows his lead, it's a great way to win. The very little negativity that comes from Coach Carroll. And so when you go out to practice, it's not a drag. It's not based on the head coach's mood, like a Parcells or a Holmgren, where you got to go, the practice is already, he's already got his mind made up that he's going to storm out of practice but Pete Carroll's not like that. Good job by them. Great job by the Niners. They're just so tough. They play good defense too. So great win by the 49ers.
Now we have to talk about if you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, it's an unbelievable comeback. If you're a Los Angeles Chargers fan, it's the great choke job debacle. Call it what you may. First, it's it's unbelievable. You follow these games. You go on Twitter while the game's going on. Trevor Lawrence is the worst thing to ever played the quarterback. And, you're in the first quarter, 4 interceptions, the whole 9 yards. He's not ready for prime time. In fact, I actually tweeted that that this game is, typical that's on NBC because the Jaguars look like the new not ready for prime time players. Taking it back to the old Saturday Night Live actors from in the 70s. But then something happened at halftime. It's weird, and I didn't predict the comeback, but I'm watching the game. I'm like, okay, they scored this touchdown right before half. They get a couple stops, whatever. They come down and score a couple times. They can make it interesting. I don't expect them to win the game.
No, but Doug Peterson's a pro, and he's been there before. He's been in big games. He's a great play caller. He understands big situations. And he's a calm presence. That was a huge score before half. It was a huge score before half. And then Trevor starts to put it together. Trevor don't lose on Saturday. Trevor don't lose on Saturday. That's 3. He never lost in high school, college, or pro. So there's a lot of time. And those, if you looked at those 4 interceptions, those were Glenn Foley interceptions where my freshman year, every ball that got tipped was picked. He threw one of them was on 4th down, so he had, regardless of you're throwing a ball you probably wouldn't normally throw in there. But having 4, you're looking at 4 interceptions early, and as a quarterback, I've done that. I did it. Pat Tillman took me to the house. In a preseason game, I think I threw 5 interceptions in the first half of a game, and it's a lonely feeling. It's a lonely feeling when, those are on. They're not all on Trevor, but they're in his stat book. So the team and the defense tends to look over at you while you're turning it over real quick, and they got to go back onto the field really fast. And then but they came back. Dougie's one of the great play callers. He's from the Andy Reid tree, the West Coast offense, and they kept their cool. They played defense. Their defense was the reason. I think 3 points in the second half. I'm not
correct. I think it was 27-0.
So they scored 3 points in the second half. So they completely reversed the course of that game at halftime, which means adjustments, calm, pro, all these things with Dougie Peterson, who's been there, and Trevor Lawrence, who's a great player. He's going to be one of the great players. He's still got a mechanical issue. That issue I was talking to you about, but Trevor's got that issue. And what happens is it shows up in tight coverage. Is exactly what happened. He's late. Even one of the touchdown passes he threw, he was late to the ball because he's got that little mechanical issue, which can be fixed. But it's a slower release to the ball. The ball doesn't get there as quick. And when you get these playoff teams that have tight coverage, play good man-to-man coverage, if you're not dead on dot, it's a pick. It's not just an incompletion; it's a pick because Asante Samuel's back there roaming the backfield, and man, you throw the ball anywhere near them, he's glue. He's glue, and he takes the ball. So, hats off to the Jacksonville Jaguars, Doug Peterson for keeping their cool and coming back and winning that game. Huge win. I remember my boy Reich, he did it in against the Oilers back in the day. That was one of the great ones. Probably
it's funny that was one of my. I was just tweeting relentlessly. I was saying that Peterson, I think, wishes he had Nick Foles at this point, to put the backup quarterback in. Or I was saying that he would actually probably say after the 4th interception, I actually thought that Peterson would settle for having Carson Wentz play at that point. And then Frank, the Frank Reich thing came to my head.
If you watch the ball, first one, it was a bad read, and you got to get the jitters out. The kid, the ball gets tipped. He's got an interception. Really not his fault. And then the other one was a 4th down. So two of those 4, you don't really chalk them up to the quarterback spot.
And you know what's scary about that? Usually, like, for instance, you talk about that Bills team. That Bills team was a veteran team, Reich and Andre Reed and Thurman Thompson, all those guys. You look at Jacksonville, you get down 27-0. That's a young team. ATN is basically a rookie. Guys like Kirk and Zay Jones, Marvin Jones, they never really had won anything before. The guys on defense, their top defensive players, guys like Josh Allen, the linebacker, Trayvon Walker, Lloyd, the linebacker. A lot of those guys in their first playoff game. So usually, if it's a veteran team that gets down like that, okay, they got veteran guys. So they, get a good little pep talk in the locker room, and usually talent prevails. These kids are all basically playing their first playoff game.
And it goes to show you the difference between an Urban Meyer coach team and a team. And I always say this: everybody's 500 in the league if you can stay healthy. If you go and 2-15, you're 3-14, one of those teams, you got serious issues, and that's most of the time the coach probably has to go when that happens. Dougie comes in and he's been there. He's played for these. He's played for the coaches. He's worked with these coaches that have been down the stretch and play calling. And I'm telling you, these West Coast guys, I'm not a huge fan of the West Coast offense, but they're good. They're good play callers. They understand play calling, which is an art form in and of itself. But but that, again, the credit to the coaching staff for taking these young kids and making them believe. It was really an unbelievable day of football.
Then we'll put a capper on this thing on these. I was calling San Diego, the LA aspect of it. There's rumors going around. You don't know what to believe that maybe the coach of the Chargers, Staley, may have been on thin ice. If he was on thin ice, could come tomorrow morning? Is he looking for employment?
Absolutely. You don't get your best player hurt in the final week of the season when you're dead locked in. That's a crime. You get him hurt, and he's a red zone guy. And even though they scored 27 points in the first half, it should have been 44 points. So when you get that many turnovers, you got to turn them into points. I mean, it would have been a huge win. So yeah, I think he's gone. My pick is Frank Reich. My pick is Frank Reich
I think the obvious guy, especially to work with that quarterback who you love very much, Sean Payton's right there for. I mean, Sean Payton with that quarterback could be a pretty lethal combination.
Yeah, either one you have no problem with, but maybe you bring Reich to run the offense, but it's interesting because that would be Peyton's baby. Peyton does the offense. He would probably bring in Petey with him, Pete Carmichael, who was with him the whole time down in New Orleans. My guy from Boston College, BC guys all over the field. Aaron, Mike Reed's at my boy Mike Reed. I saw him. What did I see him the other day? He's a Clemson coach, but my old team is Aaron Glenn interviewing.
Defense coordinator for the Detroit Lions.
Interviewing for head coach's spots. So
we got a couple minutes for each game today. We're going to start off where we supposedly are in Buffalo, right behind us. The Buffalo Stadium right behind us. You see that, Glenn? You see how I do that?
It's normally packed. I was up in that top corner for the Grateful Dead concert in 19. We were sleeping on the lawn out there.
That's another show for another day. So I would just reiterate what we said yesterday. Miami's got absolutely no shot in this game, correct?
I never say never. You got AFC East defenses. Teams have played each other twice already. They know each other. You got to get pass rush on the big man and just limit what Stephon Diggs can do to you. If you can accomplish those things and hold them to 20 points. If you can do that, you'll have a chance. Someone was tweeting out how this is the game that I would probably take the points because everyone and their grandmother are betting the Bills in a blowout. So this is the game that worries me the most. It's ultimately why I teased. My tease is still alive. We'll go over that in a minute.
Still alive. The 49ers, you got to get this Bills plus minus 3.5 and the Bengals plus 1.5. Let's go to Minnesota. What are we thinking here? This should be the game of the day, based on what the line is. With the Vikings and the Giants played a terrific game, several weeks back. You give the New York Football Giants, you give them a pretty decent shot in this game, don't you?
I think it's going to be a brawl. Yeah, the defense of the Giants doesn't get enough love. And Thibodeau, man, the guy can play.
He's an animal.
Yeah,
I love what the Giants did in the draft last year. We're getting Thibodeau and Evan Neal. Both guys at one point during mock draft season were listed as the number one players in draft. So they got two guys who could have very easily gone number one in the draft in one draft. The Giants, and Thibodeau's really coming on. He had the I'm going to bring up one of your old teammates. He had the Mike Mamula syndrome early. He was getting close, but not getting there. He's starting to get the numbers in the sack column last few games.
What happens in the NFL is you get him and you match him up against teams get hurt, you get injuries. These subpar tackles and guards, he runs them over. He's got power. He's got power from below, strong legs. So he runs people over. Man, he's always when he pushes, he's got push. He's always in the backfield. He's making the tackle for loss guy, sack and pressure guy. Really tough.
Is he become that guy where, and I know some of you guys, quarterbacks, you break the huddle. The first thing you look at, where's number 5? I mean, is he becoming one of those guys where that's the first place you're looking to see where he's lining up?
Yeah, and you're reminding you back to break his ribs on your way out. Running back, a good running. Curtis Martin was great at it. As you released, from your pattern, because he's going to get blocked. We're going to block him with a tackle. but the running backs can do major damage to that guy on their releases if they do it right. Curtis was great at breaking ribs with an elbow or a shoulder as he's rushing. You're not cutting him. It's not a chop block, but you're just chipping. They call it the chip. But chip him and chip him hard. I used to tell Curtis, chip hard first, then release. And then I know my backside. When Curtis was doing it, I knew my backside was good. Jumbo and Curtis were back there. I knew I had no worries back there. So, yeah, chip him on your release, especially passing downs. Get out there and double team and run at him too. Don't run away from him all game. Run at him and try to wear him out so that he's not pass rushing. He's not in the backfield late in the game. But I think this is a brawl. The Vikings are loaded on offense. They can run the ball. They can throw it. Jefferson's one of the best in the game. As long as Kirk's on his game, it's gonna be a war. The Giants will play this game tough. Just because that's their MO. That's their signature. They come out. They play for Dable. Dable's a good coach. They're a well-coached team. They're motivated and they're hungry. So you could get Danny Dimes based on his play. If he plays well and runs for 50 to 100 yards, you got yourself a ball game. 24-23 Vikings.
And don't forget Saquon Barkley probably make a few big plays. Both running and in the passing game as well.
Well, you have dual threat when Danny's throwing it. They're very difficult. Danny can come out of nowhere and look like Montana some games. Other games he looks like Bobby Abear. But
name from the past.
When he's on, it's he's tough because he's going to bust a run. What do they call him? They call him Vanilla Vic or something. Something like that. Vanilla Vic, I think, on the team. But if he gets his 50 to 100 yards rushing, the Giants are tough to beat because they're controlling it. He's running it, and they're scoring.
And finally tonight, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, the defending AFC champions, taking on the Baltimore Ravens, the Lamar Jackson-less Baltimore Ravens. Looks like Huntley and he's all banged up, and he's going to play. Tyler Huntley. Again, this looks like give me a rough game early. Like you said, these two teams know each other, played twice, but the Cincinnati Bengals are really been playing great football as of late. Look to be too much for the Baltimore Ravens tonight.
Yeah, but when I see Burrow, he keeps reconfirming how good he is that week in, week out, and even as he goes on, last year I'm like, okay, all right, Joe, and then I'm thinking, this is a 1 year guy. Then he comes back, does it again. No, they're for real. Chase is for real. The Cincinnati defense is for real. This team is destined again. They're as good as anybody. Love to see the Bills and the Bengals play in the final, or the Chiefs. But no,
we can get a Bills Bengal game next week if possible.
So that would be great going into the Chiefs. Would be Chiefs or the Bengals playing the Chiefs, the winner of that game. So So you're in a bad spot. And I think Huntley's even too banged up. So if they crack him early, he's going to go out. I don't even know who their third string guy is.
Anthony Brown.
Okay, he's an old BC guy. He's an old BC kid. He played at BC. They went to Oregon, I believe, right? Yeah, he's actually.
So
you could get ultimately 3 third-string quarterbacks playing in the playoffs this year if he has to play. This is an ugly game. If you're a Ravens fan, Lamar not playing just kills you here. This could be 31-3. This is why this game is in my tease. Joey Burrow and a healthy Bengals team, tough to beat at home. That's all. And I got him. I got him with points with the tease. So all they got to do is win.
There you have it. You just did 20 good minutes. I hope anyone who's watching, who's planning on betting the game, got some good insight. And we'll be back tomorrow. We'll break down these 3 games and start with a little look ahead towards next week's games. We'll have the Final Four in each conference down to 8 teams, and these were the games that really start. We got the best teams going at it. So, Glenn, thanks for your time, and we'll talk to you guys again tomorrow.
Ring the bell. Ring the bell.
Right. I got all kinds of stuff here. I got all kinds of stuff. Let's see here. I can do this. have a bell here. I do have some. I got the.
Got any Harry Cal? Let's get some Harry Cal. We can always end it with "out of here."
You know what? That's a good idea. Let me work on that tonight. We'll